Hi everybody, welcome back to In The Huddle. I'm Jillian Kushner. Today's Tuesday, so we're going to talk about something kind of technical relating to football. We're going to talk about fantasy football. So before you go, please subscribe below and like the page in the description box, and let's talk about fantasy football. I got this idea to make this video about fantasy football because one of my parents' friends was asking me over Christmas break all about fantasy football, and I was like, you know what, a lot of people don't know how this works. Before I played, I didn't know how it worked. So I figured I'd make this video to explain it because I think fantasy football is really fun and it makes watching the NFL so much more fun, and I think anyone can do it. Like, you don't need to know everything about football to be able to play fantasy football, and I think it helps you learn a lot as well. So we'll talk about how it all works. So how fantasy football works, first off, you need a league. So I was invited into a league, had a bunch of other members, and you can pick various websites to host your fantasy football team. Ours was on the NFL website. I know ESPN does it, Fox Sports, all these other websites do it. So each of those websites has different rules. So I only know the rules as it applied to the NFL website. So I had to pick a team name, all that fun stuff. I chose the Philadelphia Eagles. I know, it's a good one. And then we had the draft. So I was given the number one pick in the draft. So the first round, I had the number one pick. Second round, I had the last pick, as you see. And so then in that draft, I accumulated the players I needed and whatnot. So a big misconception is that you draft every single position, and you don't. You don't draft individual linemen. You don't draft individual players like that. You're only allowed to draft these certain spots that are open, and I'll tell y'all what those are. So you're supposed to draft a quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, and then either a wide receiver, another running back, or another tight end, a kicker, and a defense. So when you draft a defense, you're getting the entire defense. So you're not picking a safety, you're not picking a defensive lineman, you get the entire defense. And then you also get spots on your bench. You get 6 spots on your bench so you can get whatever you need. Over the season, it's going to change what your needs are. Someone might be hurt, or let's say you have a bye week. I remember one week, like, most of my players had a bye, so that sucked. So I had to go shopping to get other players. So the way you get other players is the players that weren't drafted by any team are available for add drop. So what you need to do is just create roster space for them. So you can cut someone you already have and then add whoever is still available. And you can rank them by like who's doing the best in fantasy and whatnot. So each week you're matched up against another team in your league, and whoever has the most points wins. So each player is given points based off their performance. In my league, it was a points per reception league. So if a receiver caught the ball 10 times, they would get points for each of those 10 times. Mine was PPR. Not all leagues are PPR leagues. I ended the season in 4th place, which pretty good for my first time playing. I was 8-5 over the season. Wasn't the best, but not too bad. It was really fun to play, and you kind of get to be very involved in games. I found myself watching games and rooting for certain players. Like I've mentioned before how I like Antonio Brown because he was on my fantasy team. So I'll watch the Steelers and be rooting for him, and even like I was watching him the other day and I was still rooting for him even though fantasy's over. Same thing with Aaron Rodgers, all these guys. You really get to learn, who's good and how these performances vary from week to week. Like I'll have one week where, let's say, Jarvis Landry was really good one week. The next week he gets me like 5 points. That's not what you want. And the way the points work, like the points you want is if like someone's over 20 points, that's like awesome, especially for like a quarterback. So my last game, Aaron Rodgers had 40 points, which is amazing. Like that's perfect. I love that. That's not normal. You're not supposed to get that many points. Antonio Brown, best receiver in the league, in my opinion. He got me 25.6 points last week, whereas my other receivers, like Jarvis Landry, got me 5.9 points, and Michael Thomas got me 15.8. So it really varies. And then my defense doesn't give you the most points. My defense got me 2 points last week, and that was the Seahawks defense. That really varies. I don't think they've ever gotten me more than like 10 points, so those really stay kind of low. But that's really how fantasy works. It's fun. I definitely recommend playing it. And it's just, I don't know, it gets you more involved in the NFL. You get to really care about different games you wouldn't care about. Like you're following players you would never follow if they weren't on your team. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you on Thursday to talk about some more NFL playoffs because we got the divisional round coming up.